Well, hello to everyone and welcome actually to our international webinar organized by l'Agence économique régionale Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes Entreprises. I am very happy to moderate this webinar. I'm Christina Balanos. We are together actually in partnership with Minalogic, the Global Innovation Cluster for Digital Technologies. And I would like to give you some practical, let's say, guidelines for this webinar, as you are all connected and muted, you imagine. We're together for an hour and a half, and including, obviously, the Q&A at the end. So you're more than welcome to put your questions, submit your questions in the chat box on the right-hand side. And if we can turn the slide so that we can see exactly where we can find that, that's on the right-hand side of your screen. And of course, the replay will be also available tomorrow. So that's for the, let's say, the practical webinar guidelines that I can share with you. A few words about l'Agence économique régionale Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes Entreprises. This is a non-profit organization of public interest, so things are free, like this webinar today, and the agency actually guides and supports companies and services to industry at all stages of their developments, and investment such as investment, training and employment, innovation, exports, access to funding for European projects, for instance, also. And the agency takes every year a bunch of great startups from France to the CES that actually happened last week. Digital edition this year with the pandemic, but we're happy actually to have joined. And obviously the idea is to connect with the ecosystem, including, of course, for international developments. That's also why we decided actually to tackle this great subject, successful fundraising. And we will actually have great speakers that gathered together today to actually address this very interesting topic. So let me give you an overview of fundraising. You probably know that fundraising is one of the most important steps of any entrepreneur. You are entrepreneur actually connected. So I would like actually to tell you, probably already know, that it's like a marathon and you really need to get prepared for it. You cannot improvise. And I will present in a couple of minutes the speakers, but we would like, actually, the speakers would like to know who they are talking to. So that's why we would like to ask you 4 questions that we will now share so that we have a little bit of interaction with you. We will now share 4 questions about basically who you are. First question, which area is your business? We have digital, healthcare, chemicals, agri-food industry, traditional industry, or others. So don't hesitate, obviously, to tick the box so that we know where you are in, actually. That's one of the first questions that we have. So we already have some answers. Let's see. And we have the answer. We have 30%, 34% of others. So I'm curious actually to know what are the others. But we also have a lot of digital and healthcare chemicals, and of course, a few less agri-food and traditional industry. The second question is actually regarding how, let's say, how old is your company? When did you start your business? So 1 up to 3 years ago, 4 up to 6 years ago, or 7 years ago and more. Let's see. That's a very interesting information, actually, so that we know if you probably have done some deals yet. And the answers, we give you a couple of minutes more. Let's see. That's a little bit of a suspense. And the answers are we have to jump from one slide to another. We have actually, most of you are young companies, 1 up to 3 years old. So thank you for that. And a few of you, I would say for 7 years, and then the middle one. Let's see, the third question. The third question is actually about fundraising. So we would like to know, and it's probably a lot of yes, I suppose, if you already have raised funds yet, or you are in the process of doing it. Let's see. How many? I would suggest, I imagine, if you are 1 up to 3 years old, most of you probably have already raised funds, but it's always interesting to know. And let's see the answer. And the answer, wow, so 69% not yet. It's probably also why you are here. Great news. And last but not least, the idea we have VCs also and startups connected. We would like to know if you are actively looking for investors. Is it right now or not for the moment? You look to get inspired by coming here. Let's see. The good news is that you have people experiencing it from both sides. So we will see how many people want to find investors right now. And as we have 3 VCs here, that might be interesting. And the answers are not yet. And obviously, most of you, actually 68%, are looking right now for investors. Thank you very much. We will now move on to our goal for today. And let me introduce you actually the great speakers from international, let's say, countries, different time zones, different continents. So I will try to start with a short presentation with each one of you, and so that you have an idea who we are actually speaking to. I will start with you, Dr. Aron Menawat. You are CEO at Profound Medical. It's actually a company based in Ontario, a commercial stage medical technology company that actually markets real-time MRI guided thermal ultrasound systems for incision-free ablation of abnormal or cancerous tissue. So we're talking about very serious stuff. Thank you, Aron, for being with us. We have Paul Garofalo. You are CEO at Locus Biosciences. You are based in North Carolina, and you are actually working in a company that is a clinical stage biotechnology, developing precision antimicrobial medicine of therapeutic indication across infectious disease and also immunology and oncology. Thanks also, Paul, for being with us from North Carolina. Aron STAROSTA, you are actually the Vice President Commercialization and New Ventures at the University City Science Center in Pennsylvania, actually in Philadelphia, to be actually more precise. You designed and currently direct the Launch Lane Accelerator within the center. And what do? You actually support companies developing tech and tech-enabled startup transition from prototype to sales and customer acquisition. You also have a great knowledge of VCs, as you have been providing services as an independent due diligence expert. So that's very interesting to see the diversity of your knowledge. We thank you also for being with us. So I'm leaving from, let's say, North America to come to France. François MICELI, you are General Manager at Sofimac Innovation, a French management company present in all segments of private equity that supports innovative startups. And you have been working 13 years in this field and also a great past of entrepreneurs. So that's very interesting to see that you have been experiencing.
Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes Entreprises. L'industrie est notre richesse.